Hey, we're back with another scale model tool organization video. We're working our way through part 2, which is tools that are on or around the bench. Not around the bench, on the bench. We've talked about the wine rack, we've talked about the Lazy Susans, we've talked about the paint rack and the vortex mixer. In this video we're going to start talking about the bench tools. I don't know if we're going to get through them all, but we're going to get started anyhow. So we're going to pan over here to the left. And the first couple items, this is stuff that stays on the bench itself. This is the glue area. This one is mobile. This one stays where it is primarily. That's to keep glue from getting all over my table. And it's a place where the glue gun lives. That way I know where it's at. If you don't have a spot for something, it could go anywhere, and then you got to look for it. And basically that's the whole reason to organize any of your tools, is so that you don't spend a lot of time looking for it. I mean, we gotta fight for the time that we get to work in our models and our other hobbies. So we certainly don't want to spend it looking for the elusive glue gun. Okay, enough of that rant. So over here we have, this is my mobile CA glue station. As you can see, it is made of foam core. That's because this is kind of a work in progress. This is probably version 3. It's been added to and subtracted from, trying to narrow down just exactly what shape it needs to be so that I can make a real one out of wood. But until then, I'm still, going through trial and errors with this one. So what we have here is, we'll talk about that last because that's kind of a maintenance thing. First, we have an area for the glue itself to be in, and I've made it big enough for my favorite Loctite super glue, and enough to hold 2 of them, because that one's like a medium thickness, and this one is the thin that I decanted from a bigger bottle of thin. So what happens with that is, you take a little bit of the super glue and you drop it into one of these, can you see that? One of these little divots in this clay. This black portion is non-hardening kids play. And anyhow, I put these divots in it with the back of this tool, and then I fill up those divots with a little bit of super glue. And then when the time comes, I take this tool, which is like a wee little pickle fork. However, it's made out of a needle, a sewing needle. And what I did was, I cut the top of it off. See, here we have our sewing needle. I cut there, threw that away. And what was left was this pickle fork shape that whenever you dip it into the glue, capillary action will suck it up into that area and hold it there. And then you've got less than a drop size to place on your model. And once that's placed, you bring it back over to the glue pot, dip it in there, get some more, and that'll stay liquid for quite a while. I don't know, maybe half an hour or so. So you got plenty of time to use it. And when that dries up, you just go to another one. Eventually, you get all that filled up, and you peel that off and whip it out the window and put a new one in there. So that's that tool. It just so happens that the bottom of it's round, just the round, and just the right shape for making your little divots there. This one is the same thing. However, it's not used for the glue. It's used for the accelerator, which is over here. And what happens with that is, I squirt it into this brass thimble that's at an angle so that it holds all the what is that even called? Instaset. The quick accelerator. Good grief. The accelerator down there in the corner. And then that holds it in its, and this one's actually a little bit longer as far as the forks go. And then you can move that over into your area once you got your piece on, and dab your hardener or your accelerator on there and instantly set the glue. So when those this one won't get clogged up, except when you stick it in the glue by accident. But if you never ever do that, it won't get clogged up. But this one will get clogged up with glue because it's super glue, and it'll dry on the end of there. So whenever it does, you pull out your lighter and you heat that up. It'll end up catching the glue on fire. That'll burn off, and you'll be ready to go again. So that's that. Like I said, one day in the future I'll make up a wooden one. Next item is quite simply a block of wood with holes drilled in it. Primarily it holds these bamboo skewer sticks that are attached to alligator clips. And sometimes the alligator clips are too big, and I attach one of these small alligator clips. Sometimes you just need to put the part on a toothpick. Oh, this one, I've got two of these, and this one's got smaller holes for toothpicks, just so they're not sloppy like that. Okay, so that's that. That's a pretty handy thing. That's garbage stuff. So this is my figure holding system for whenever I want to hold figures that I'm painting. Any figure that I'm doing, even in 1/35th scale, I'll put them on some kind of a base. That way I can put a magnet underneath of them, such as that. So this is the column of an old trophy, and the reason I picked this and not just any old block of wood was it's got these knobs on it, and it'll set like this, or you can index it in any position. And the reason that's important is, let's say I put a wash on here. If I hold that up straight, all the wash is just going to run off and it's going to accumulate along the bottoms. I might not want that. I might want it to accumulate in the folds of this dress this figure's wearing. So in that case, I'd put it on its side like this and let the wash dry. And then when it's time to do the front, I'd flip it over and I'd do that. Not that that's really a big deal. If this was square, you could just spin the figure. But I had these, and that's what they turned into. So it's got 3 magnets on the top, all of them the same polarity sticking up. And this is just a piece of, oops, I was out of frame there, wasn't I? This is just a piece of sheet metal. And then of course there's a magnet underneath of the base of each of my figures. That serves 2 purposes. A, it puts it on this holder so that I can hold the figure and paint it without touching it. And the other purpose is, whenever it's time to move anywhere with my figures, I've got boxes with sheet metal on the bottom, and all the figures just stick to it. And it doesn't matter if the box gets turned upside down or not. They're not touching each other, and they're not falling around and banging against each other and breaking parts off of them. There's also magnets on the bottom of these, so that when I'm not using them, I can stack them up somewhere. But generally, I'm using them. And this has got a piece of sheet metal on it too. Okay, that's the figure holding. I'll pan over to here. There's a Spam container. I'm not sponsored by Spam. They can sponsor me. If you're from Spam and you want to sponsor me, that'd be great. But until then, that container holds little scraps of sandpaper that might not quite be dead yet. What else is over here? This is a piece of marble. It's a nice flat surface for cutting stuff if necessary, or for bending photo etch or something. It's just a nice hard flat surface. Okay, I am out of time for this side. The next video I'll pan over to the right even more. Okay, subscribe if you like, and we will see you on the next one. Party!